technology, and they come up with these derogatory terms, and it sounds good. These big companies have big PR firms in order to come up with a term that will then can be used as just sort of an excuse, a cliche, to say yes to diminishing America's patent protection for the little guys. Well, I mean, because after all, who would support these big multinational corporations? They said, we just want to take anything these people invent and give them whatever we want to give them, or not give them anything. We want to have the right to steal from them, and that's why we're trying to change the rules. They would never get anywhere. Instead, business is being treated unfairly by submarine patenters. That's what they'd used before, and now they have a new term. Now, on this wave, this onslaught, and as I say, we've been facing this wave after wave for 20 years. They keep coming back, trying to diminish our patent structure. Now they insist we need patent change because of the threat of the so-called patent troll. Not to be mistaken with submarine patenter, that was the last one. Be some, as I say, pejorative word that their PR firm, which they pay a lot of money to, can come up with that seems to be sinister enough to scare the American people into emasculating our patent system and letting the big guys steal the ideas from the little guys. These so-called patent trolls are actually patent holders or companies who represent patent holders. They either are people they themselves invented patents, or they represent the companies who actually have bought into patents, who represent the patent holders themselves. They are engaged basically in defending the rights of patent rights against the infringement of those rights of the patents they own. Their patents are no different than anybody else's patents. They call them patent trolls, but what we've got here is just people who are engaged in the business of enforcing patents that are not being enforced. And they basically are seeking to protect some little guys who don't have the money, or to see that they can join in partnership with people in order to maximize their benefit from the patents in which these people hold. They are valid patents. We're not talking, there's all these innuendo, again, sinister thoughts and sinister phrases coming out to make it sound like we're not talking about real legitimate patents. We're talking about people who have invented legitimate patents that have been granted by the Patent Office. And we're also talking about huge corporate infringers that would have us believe that those patents are unfair and evil because trolls, patent trolls, are involved. So what makes the difference between the good patents owned by large corporations themselves? These corporations we're talking about do own patents, and quite frankly, quite often go and try to enforce other patents that they have accumulated and bought. What makes them so different from the patent trolls? Well, the patent troll has been identified as someone who's out for profit from technology that he or she did not invent. Oh my goodness, you've got somebody who didn't invent something and they want to make some money out of it by investing or joining a partnership with somebody who did invent it. That is not something as sinister as patent troll sounds. And just like lawyers, we know that lawyers can file illegitimate lawsuits and try to get people to settle just because they don't want to go through the procedures. Well, that doesn't mean we should destroy the right of people to sue when they have a legitimate claim because some lawyers go out and misuse the system. That should be up to a judge or a jury, not a restriction on the right of people to file suit in order to protect the rights and to gain compensation if their rights have been violated. If the small inventor doesn't have the resources to enforce his or her patent, an individual or a company can buy those rights. And they can actually buy them just like you'd buy a piece of property. That's what it is, intellectual property. And they can buy these, or they can create a partnership with the inventor, and that means that they can then try to seek a suit or some sort of compensation from those who are infringing on those patents. I have consulted with a number of outside individual inventors and groups, and they have reaffirmed to me that the legislation that is being now proposed by the Judiciary Committee further disadvantages the little guy against the deep-pocketed multinational corporations that are behind the changes that are now being proposed in the United States Congress, which I will detail in a few moments. Yes, they are using the guise of targeting these patent trolls. They hope to achieve a legislation that will prevent little guys from actually selling their product to these big guys, or have a dramatic impact on the ability, or probably more accurately say, it will have a dramatic impact on the ability of people who own patents to actually file suit against those big infringers. And they do this in the name of controlling the patent trolls. And of course, again, I say, what does that mean? That's someone who necessarily has not invented something, but is working with the inventor to see that those rights are respected. So how horrible it is to making a business out of helping small inventors, or partnering with people in order to see that they have the resources to enforce their patent rights against large corporations mainly, or even if they're medium-sized corporations who are infringing on a patent, meaning they're using this invention, and the inventor comes in and says, well, you're infringing on my patent. Can't you pay me for the rights of using this while I still own it? And the answer is, sue me, because the big corporations know full well, that they are that they have deep pockets and they can handle anything, and the little guy, well, especially if they get this law passed, the little guy is not going to be able to seek help, and it's going to be much more complicated for him. Tonight I draw attention of the American people to H.R. 3309, the Innovative Act, let's see, the Innovation Act, they call it this time, introduced by Chairman Goodlatte with 14 bipartisan co-sponsors. This bill is scheduled to be marked up in the House Judiciary Committee next week, even though the committee has only held one hearing since this bill was introduced, and it was only introduced 8 legislative days ago. So something's being rammed through the process here, big time. People need to see that, and what are they trying to do? Why are they ramming it through? Because this is the multinational corporations who want to diminish the rights of the little guy, and only we, the American people, can stop that with our sense of fairness and our commitment to making sure America remains the technological leader of the world, and that isn't in the hands of these multinational corporations who aren't necessarily in allegiance with the United States. The witnesses from these hearings on this legislation have included former patent director Campos, and he made it clear that we should move slowly and with great care in making the many changes to the patent law that are part of this legislation, especially in light of the fact that no one yet understands the implications of the last patent bill that was passed through Congress during the last Congress. They passed a patent bill called the America Invents Act, which is in the process of being implemented and interpreted by the Patent Office and by the courts. So we haven't digested that last bite the Congress took out of the patent law apple, and now they want us to gobble down a few more. In and of itself, this legislation is too broad, its implications are too unclear, and its impact and effects are unknowable. That's what witnesses and other experts have indicated, and the conclusion is, move forward with caution, not ram something through in just a few days. But that's not what's happening. Congress is being railroaded into passing this legislation on top of the last legislation, which we haven't even figured out how it works yet. And now, of course, they've got the patent trolls, which telling us to be afraid of, so we don't have to worry about any of that. Don't think about it. Don't think. Just remember, patent trolls are sinister, and we've got to stop them and pass this bill. That's what most of these people are hearing here in Congress. Congress needs to hear from their own constituents about bills like this. So what's going on? This congressional ramrodding exemplifies the battle to diminish America's patent system, and it's been going on for 25 years, wave after wave of attack on America's patent system. We fought them back most of the time, but this time we could lose, and you lose one,